Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the LCD screen in the LG G Vista. So first of all, before you get started, make sure that your device is powered off. Then you can go ahead and grab the phone and put your thumbnail or something right in this charging port notch right here. You just carefully pry up right there. Then this back cover will come right off. To remove the battery, just stick your thumbnail or something right in this little notch right here. You can just pry up on the battery and the whole battery lifts right out like that. Next, what you want to do is if you have any memory cards or SIM cards, you want to remove those at this time. Next, what you want to do is use a Phillips screwdriver size 000, and you're going to want to remove all these 11 screws all the way around the perimeter. They're all the same size, so you don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. I'll include a link in the video description for any tools that I'm going to be using today during this repair, or any parts that I'm going to be replacing. Anything that I think might be helpful to you, I'll include links in the video description, so check them out there. So next, now that we've removed all these screws all the way around, what we're going to want to do is, I found if you pry up kind of right in this corner right here with your finger, then you can slip this like a pry tool underneath here and carefully pry up. So it's a little hard to show, but it's separating right here. And what we can do is just kind of help it along. And you want to be careful, the logic board is in here, so you want to be careful to just kind of go along this edge right here and get it to release while you're helping to hold it up a little bit. Then we can come back and pry up a little on this as we come around, and then this whole part lifts right off. So then next we're going to want to pry off this bottom part right here, and you can just go underneath this part and just work your way around, and then this part here comes apart too. So next, as we move on with taking things apart, you're going to want to remove these two screws right in here. With a Phillips screwdriver size 000, the same one you've been using, you want to remove those two screws. The next, you want to use like a plastic pry tool or your fingernail or something. You want to remove this connector right here for the charging port, this connector right here. Next, we're going to use something and remove this antenna wire right here, and this one over here as well. It works pretty good if you have a tweezers and you just grab it and rock it a little bit. Then that gets disconnected. Then we're going to want to pick up on this. It has adhesive under it, and we're going to want to pry underneath this the whole way across. You can kind of pick up as you go a little bit, just gently, and keep going around the corner here as you go, and then the charging port lifts out of there. Next, let's grab this antenna wire and carefully pry up on that and disconnect that. Then next, let's disconnect this black one here, get that out of the way. Next, let's disconnect the front camera here. Let's disconnect the rear camera. That was loose, just came out of there. Let's disconnect the headphone jack here. Then next, we should be able to start prying up, lifting up carefully on the logic board here. Logic board, motherboard, that comes out. What you're going to want to do is get an LCD with a frame already included, so it makes it so much easier for you to swap things over. So I'm going to go over quickly what we're going to need to swap over. We're going to need to swap over these wires right here, these antenna wires on both sides. We're going to need to swap over the vibrator, the front-facing camera, the earpiece speaker, the headphone jack. Let's get started. So first of all, let's remove these wires here on both sides. So next, let's remove the vibrator. And you can do so just by using something like this tweezers. You can just carefully pry under there and just rock it a little bit, and the vibrator comes right out. So next, let's do the front camera here. And you can just carefully pull up a little bit, just a tiny bit of pressure. And if you slide something in here, you can just do gentle pressure upwards, and then this front camera will come right out. Next, let's do the headphone jack here. I'm just going to insert something in here and rock a little bit, and the headphone jack lifts right out. Next, we're going to want to do the earpiece speaker here. And if you can get started right under here, this flex cable right here, a little bit, it just has adhesive under it. You need something fine like this tweezers or something to get under it. And then if you do that, you can just carefully pry up, and the whole earpiece speaker comes out just like that too. Now if you take a look at this frame, we pulled everything out that we need to put over onto the new frame. You may want to swap this sticker over as well, which has your serial number, IMEI number, and all that on it. If your new one doesn't have adhesive for sticking some things down, you may want to try to salvage some of this over to the new screen. And if not, if you need some double-sided adhesive, I'll link to that in the description so you can find it. And sometimes there's like little foam blocks or something like this you may need to swap over to your new screen if it doesn't have it. Otherwise, so let's get started with reassembling. So this is the frame that I want to put everything back into. So let's get started putting things back together. So first, let's grab the earpiece speaker. And I'm just going to use a tweezer so you can see easier. And we're going to want to set it down in here. And there's a peg for this to line up on, this part to stick down. So you got a peg there, you can see right where it goes. Next, I'll grab the vibrator, set it down in there, stick that down. Grab the front camera, set it down in there, press down. Next, I'll grab the headphone jack, snap it down into place. So we can grab our antenna wire, Grab this antenna wire, black one. Next we'll grab the charging port, stick it down, we'll reconnect this connector right here, then we'll put our 2 screws back in right here and here. Next let's reconnect these antenna wires and this one. Next let's grab our logic board and set it down in here. Now you'll have to watch all these different flex cables. There's one up here for the front camera, the one here for the headphone jack, different ones you have to watch. And also these antenna wires, make sure they're out from underneath. And go ahead and reconnect this connector right here. Let's reconnect the headphone jack. Reconnect the front camera. Let's reconnect this antenna wire. Reconnect this antenna wire. Make sure when you're done with your antenna wires that both wires are laying nicely in here in their channels. Then lastly we need to install the rear camera here. So what I found with this long flex cable, it's almost easier to reconnect the camera and then push this over and push it down in where it goes. Just be careful not to get any fingerprints on it. Next we're ready to set this down into place. Just snaps in. Then we're ready to snap this into place. Then go ahead and put all your 11 screws back in all the way around. To reinstall the battery, grab your battery, look, see where the connectors are here, line them up with the connectors over here. Just set it right down on there, press down, and you're all set. To reinstall the back cover, just grab your back cover, set it right down on here, just press down, make sure it's snapped in all the way around, and you're all set. Thanks for watching.